So, Monsignor Kupke, can you give me your initial reaction to the news today of our new Holy Father?
My very initial reaction is actually not printable, but I was surprised that it was an American. But again, if there was going to be an American, this is the right guy. This is the man who had all the right qualifications and background, and he really has a very varied and diverse background in the life of the church. He's headed a religious order on the international level.
Augustinian, right?
He's been a bishop in Peru. He's taught. He's headed one of the most important Roman dicasteries. So, he has all the right background.
And we have you on video predicting
Yes.
that if it was an American, it would be him.
Yeah, I'm a Pope whisperer.
And did you not predict the last one as well?
I did. The funny thing is that the two most prominently named Italians, Cardinal Parolin and Cardinal Zuppi, Cardinal Prevost is right in between them in age. He's a few months younger than Parolin and a few months older than Zuppi, so 69 seems to be the key age to look at somebody.
So where do we go from here as a church? And if you wanted to, where do we go from here as a church?
As
a church, where do we go? Where does he take us?
I think we continue Francis's lead, but perhaps without some of the flair and some of the off-the-cuff approach that Francis had. I thought it was telling, watching him on the balcony, earlier today, that he had notes written down. That's the first time I've ever seen a pope come out with a sheet of paper who had taken the time to write down what he wanted to say when he got out there. And that would not have been the Francis approach. He would have gone out there and just talked. So I think that's a difference in style that you'll see between this one and the last one. But I don't know that there's going to be a tremendous change in the direction. He mentioned on the balcony synodality, and that in itself is something of a signal to people where we're still moving forward. We're not moving backwards. One of the things that, again, he's not the type of person to be quoted in the press all the time or everything, but his dicastery, which is a very important one, has recently put 3 women on the voting membership of the dicastery. That's the first time they've ever had a position like that. So, there is a different perspective and a different direction.
Okay, so all in all, good news, bad news?
I'm sorry?
All in all, would you say good news?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think some people will be disappointed because they would like to see a complete about face, and I think people who saw Francis as an aberration, and just a blip in the system, I think that's probably not going to be the case, and so I think Pope Leo will lead us into a new direction. I think the choice of name is fascinating. The last Leo, it depends on which Leo he's fond of. Leo I is the one who went after Attila the Hun. He's the one in the 5th century who stood up to Attila and asked him not to sack Rome. But the most recent Leo at the end of the 19th century is often regarded as the first modern pope because he's the one who wrote Rerum Novarum, the first really encyclical that involved itself in social justice, the plight of the working man, so this was a whole new direction for papal interest. He's also the one who gave the stamp of approval to the English convert John Henry Newman by making him a cardinal. So if that's the Leo that our new Leo is thinking about, if that's his reference point, that in itself could say something about the direction he wants to go in.